The final trap: why healed people are the most narcissistic. You know that moment when someone's healed, identity quietly turns into superiority? It wrecks intimacy, blocks growth, and leaves them lonelier than before. The twist: it's not obvious, because it hides behind serenity, wisdom quotes, and high standards. Most people are bypassing pain, confusing calm with compassion, and mistaking detachment for wisdom. In the next minutes, I'll map the spiritual ego, show the defense mechanisms powering it, and give you practices that immunize you. Watch for 3 open loops: the purity spiral, the compassion gap, and one test that humbles any healed persona. Let's define spiritual narcissism in plain language, starting now. The pattern. What is spiritual narcissism, really? Spiritual narcissism is grandiosity and entitlement dressed in virtue. It's the same "I'm above you" impulse, but wearing crystals, therapy speak, or sacred texts. The ego doesn't disappear when you heal, it rebrands. Instead of "I'm special because I'm rich or hot," it becomes "I'm special because I'm conscious, healed, or chosen." The outcome is identical. Other people become instruments, obstacles, or audiences. What drives it? 3 engines tend to rev. First, status needs. In many modern circles, healed functions like a prestige badge. Second, control. If life once felt chaotic, spiritual language becomes a lever to make ambiguity feel safer. Third, shame avoidance. Old pain gets repackaged as purity, so you never have to touch the rawness again. This is a flavor of spiritual bypassing, using ideas or practices to sidestep unresolved emotional work, which psychologists like John Welwood flagged in the 198s. The self-help toolkit becomes armor: boundaries as walls, insight as a weapon, stillness as a way to not feel. Here's how it often forms. There's a rupture, betrayal, burnout, addiction, loss. You discover practices that genuinely help: meditation, therapy, yoga, faith. Real regulation shows up. You sleep better, you react less. But instead of integrating, you switch identities. The wounded self becomes the enlightened self. The new identity promises safety. If I'm healed, I can't be hurt. So anything that threatens that identity gets reframed, minimized, or blamed on low vibration. Pain isn't processed, it's narrated. And the narration sounds wise, which makes it hard to challenge. The thing most people miss is the compassion swap. Early healing increases empathy. I see your pain. As the ego co-opts it, empathy morphs into evaluation. I see your pattern. People shift from relating to diagnosing. Calm becomes a performance that downgrades others' emotions as reactive, while theirs are regulated. When you feel superior, you don't actually need to understand. You only need to explain. Connection gets replaced by commentary. Red flags are subtle at first. Above it, energy. Conflict becomes not aligned. Never. I might be wrong. Special destiny. A unique path conveniently exempts them from common rules. Selective humility. Safe flaws get admitted. I overgive, while status-costly ones stay hidden. Moral scoreboard. Good deeds become credits. After all I've done, I've earned my truth. Jargon as shield. Words like boundaries, energy, or trauma used to shut down, not open up. The quick litmus test. Watch them when contradicted or inconvenienced. If the halo drops, the spiritual ego steps out. Do they get curious or retreat into labels? Do they try to repair or do they teach? Genuine integration slows down, asks clarifying questions, and owns at least a slice of the mess. Performance escalates into certainty, discredits the messenger, and calls it clarity. Why are smart, sincere seekers especially vulnerable? Because intelligence creates elegant defenses. If you're skilled with words or frameworks, you can justify nearly anything. Cite a study, quote a teacher, or deploy therapy concepts to validate avoidance. Also, sincere seekers often come from chaos. Certainty feels like oxygen. Communities that speak your new language feel like home, and homes shape behavior. If the local status economy rewards purity, nuance feels risky, so you trade it for belonging. That's how purity spirals form. Escalating standards without clear endpoints, where loyalty equals compliance and dissent gets reframed as unready. Let me ground this with a reality check. Calm is not compassion. Detachment is not wisdom. Clarity without curiosity is just control with better grammar. The real-world impact shows up fast. Relationships thin out. You might gain followers and lose friends. Intimacy drops because people can't find you. They only find your doctrine. Decisions get brittle because you outsource complexity to slogans. Personal growth stalls, external credibility rises, because your nervous system isn't practicing repair, it's practicing retreat. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches: swap metrics. Stop measuring healing by how regulated you. Look and start measuring by how you repair. Regulation without repair is a mask. Repair requires humility, perspective taking, and accountability, things the spiritual ego can't fake for long. If you remember nothing else, remember this checkpoint. When confronted, do I move toward repair or toward righteousness? Now, a few common mistakes that keep people stuck. Performative vulnerability. Polished confessions that increase status rather than reduce harm. Diagnosing without consent. Using therapy or spiritual terms to label others instead of asking how your behavior landed. Boundary theater. Rules framed as self-care that are actually punishments. And aphorism addiction. Flattening complex situations into one-liners to avoid uncertainty. All of these are recognizable forms of avoidance. Some overlap with moral licensing, where prior goodness gets used to excuse current shortcuts. A quick win you can try today. Pick one recent conflict and write 3 sentences. What I did, how it likely impacted them, and what I'll do differently. No justifications. If you catch a status signal in your wording, strip it out. That's your -1 boast rule. Then ask the other person for a small repair step you can take this week. You'll feel the ego twitch. That's the point. Every rep lowers the need to be superior and raises the capacity to be close. From here, we'll unpack the hidden incentives and the 5 defense engines that keep the spiritual ego running. Hold the litmus test in mind. Contradiction reveals character. Repair proves healing. Why smart seekers fall in. The hidden incentives. Let's connect the dots on why bright, sincere people slide into the spiritual ego without noticing. Start with relief from chaos. When your past felt like spinning plates, family drama, career churn, breakup fallout, certainty feels medicinal. A clean framework beats messy ambiguity. So you start treating every feeling as a data point and every relationship as a lesson. The problem is the certainty theater. It looks like clarity, but it's mostly anxiety management. You feel safer because you can label everything. Safety is good. Labeling as a shield isn't. Now here's where most people mess up. They confuse reduced reactivity with increased compassion. They're comma, so they assume they're kinder. Not the same. Next incentive, identity upgrade. Healed is a prestige economy. In many circles, displaying growth earns followers, clients, and admiration. Insight becomes social currency. That doesn't make you fake, it makes you human. But once I'm healed curates your friend group or pays your bills, your nervous system defends that identity like rents do. You'll choose signals over substance because signals are faster and more visible. The metric shifts from, am I repairing, to do I look regulated? That's why you'll instinctively avoid messy repair in public. It risks the brand. And once identity hardens, humility gets expensive. Here's the dopamine loop nobody talks about. Every time you share an insight and people applaud, your brain pairs being right with being safe. Praise reinforces certainty, not curiosity. So you start chasing the hit. Cleaner aphorisms, tighter takes, more confident tones. Over time, nuance feels flat. Binary judgments spike the reward. You'll subtly optimize for rightness over relatedness. The irony is brutal. The more you teach, the less you tolerate being taught. You're not addicted to growth. You're addicted to being seen as growing. Community dynamics pour gasoline on it. Groups self-organize around status signals. In spiritual or self-help spaces, the signals are purity, language, and practices. Purity tests emerge. Who's more consistent, more aligned, more conscious? That's the beginning of a purity spiral. Standards escalate without clear endpoints. Loyalty equals compliance. Dissent gets reframed as unready. Echo reinforcement kicks in. Your takes get affirmed by people who benefit from them being true. Dissent feels disloyal. The group narrows and the standards rise. You don't notice because the praise to pushback ratio is high. But you pay a cost. Your learning environment loses friction, and friction is where growth happens. Let's talk pain economics. Vulnerability is metabolically expensive. It takes time, co-regulation, and risk. Bypassing feels efficient. Reframe, compartmentalize, move on. You tell yourself you're choosing wisdom, but you're avoiding cost. Real repair, naming harm, hearing impact, changing behavior, burns energy and status. Avoidance pays short-term dividends. Fewer arguments, a cleaner feed, quicker decisions. Over a year, though, your relationships thin and your tolerance for ambiguity shrinks. You've outsourced discomfort to doctrines, which works until someone you love needs your messy presence, not your tidy insight. The thing most people miss: competence makes these traps smoother. Smart seekers can weaponize nuance or strip it, depending on what protects them. You can quote a study to defend detachment, or a teacher to justify a cutoff. You can even critique your own blind spots as a preemptive shield. That's elegant avoidance. This clicked for me when I noticed that the sharpest people are the fastest at crisp reframes under stress. Speed is the tell. True integration often slows you down. Before we continue, you need to understand the incentive structure of audiences. Public platforms reward clarity, confidence, and novelty. Repair is private, slow, and repetitive. If your growth is fed by public feedback, your nervous system will deprioritize the private stuff unless you install counterweights. That's not a moral failing, it's human. So you need practices that tilt you back toward humility and closeness. Now, here's the shortcut nobody teaches. Make vulnerability cheaper and status signaling more expensive. Practically, lower the friction to repair. Templates, rituals, time blocks. Raise the friction to performance. Delays on hot takes, peer review on downloads, an accountability buddy who challenges your certainties. Once you nail that, everything else clicks because you've realigned rewards. Microstory. Last month, a client with huge insight chops kept losing friends. Not because they were unkind, but because every conflict became a mini lecture. We installed a 2-question pause. What did I do? How did it land? They used it 3 times in 1 week and felt their body fight it. Then one friend said, "This is the first time I felt you hear me." That one sentence outperformed 100 wise posts. This next part separates beginners from pros. Accept that your community might resist your shift. If the local culture thrives on purity and certainty, your new nuance will feel like betrayal. That's okay. You're choosing depth over display. The payoff is fewer but closer bonds and a nervous system that can handle contradiction without grabbing a slogan. One last incentive to name. Helping feels good, and being needed can become identity glue. If your worth is tethered to being the wise one, you'll subconsciously attract dynamics that keep others dependent. The fix is scary but freeing. Help in ways that reduce future dependence, not increase it. You'll get fewer, "you saved me," highs and more quiet, sustained trust. That's the real win. The 5 defense engines behind spiritual ego. Here are the 5 engines that quietly power the spiritual ego. I'll name each, show how it hides in good intentions, and give you a quick test you can run today. These map to well-known defenses: reframing, projection, avoidance, moral licensing, and premature closure. And they all serve the same job: keep shame and uncertainty away. First, the grandiose reframe. This is when flaws get renamed as medicine, gift, or truth-telling. The why is simple. It cushions shame and protects identity. If my sharpness becomes surgical honesty, I never have to face the harm I cause. The what is superiority dressed as uniqueness. My pain made me chosen. My intensity is sacred fire. It can feel empowering, but it blocks accountability and growth. The test: can you stay the course without a spin? Literally say, "My bluntness hurt you and damaged trust," full stop. If you reach for poetry or a lesson, you're dodging gravity. Common mistake: performative vulnerability, confession that raises status. Quick reset: the -1 boast rule. Strip every status cue. As a leader, my training, lesson learned. Just harm, limit, and repair. Second, detachment as dominance. Healthy regulation is calm plus connection. Detachment as dominance is calm used to control. The why: intimacy feels risky, so distance feels competent. The what: a serene tone that invalidates others. I'm not available for low frequency. Let's not feed the drama. It's power in meditation clothes. The test: boundary audit. Ask, is this protecting me or punishing them? Protection is time-limited, specific, and accountable. I'm stepping back for 24 hours and will re-engage tomorrow at 3. Punishment is vague and moralizing. I don't do people who won't do their work. Mistakes to avoid. Confusing suppression with regulation. Outsourcing care when you created the rupture. Quick reset. Name/validate/choose. I cancelled late. You felt disrespected. That makes sense. I'm adding a buffer and need 24 hours notice to reschedule. Third, moral licensing in spiritual clothing. The why: a good person identity accrues credits you unconsciously spend on entitlement. The what? I meditate, I volunteer, I hold space, so I've earned my truth. Research on moral licensing shows prior virtue can increase later lapses because it protects self-image. In practice, you treat goodness like a ledger and expect deference, grace, or quick forgiveness as payment. The test, the ledger check. Write the invisible IOUs you're expecting, thanks, flexibility, silence, and ask, did we agree to this? If not, you're enforcing a private contract. Common mistake, helping to. Be seen helping. Reset, anonymous generosity. Do one meaningful act with zero trace. If it feels empty without credit, your engine was status, not service. Replace credit keeping with repair keeping. Track time to repair and specificity of apology, not streaks and slogans. Fourth, projection and spiritual gaslighting. The why. You disown traits that don't fit your self-image and locate them in others. When power's at stake, you make them doubt their reality. The what? Therapy speak to dodge accountability. That's your trigger. Your inner child is running the show. Gaslighting is manipulating someone to question their experience. In spiritual contexts, it's done with doctrine and jargon. It sounds benevolent and lands abusive. The test, the mirror rule. Before any interpretation, repeat back the plain facts of your behavior and the impact they reported. I raised my voice. You felt scared. No analysis until you mirror. Mistakes. Diagnosing without consent, turning conflict into a teaching moment. Hiding contempt in a neutral tone. Quick reset. 2 questions, then zip it. What did I do? How did it land? Reflect back verbatim. Ask if they want your read or just the fix. If they choose fix, repair and stop. Fifth, certainty masquerading as clarity. The why. Certainty soothes anxiety. Nuance threatens identity. The what? Aphorisms in place of analysis. Binaries instead of gradients. If it's heavy, it's not for you. Sometimes helpful, often lazy. The cost is misdiagnosis. Logistics become misalignment. Skill gaps become not my path. The test. Do 3 nuance reps before any strong claim. Generate 3 plausible alternative explanations that fit the facts, then decide. Pair it with a 24-hour pause on any download that impacts others. If your conclusion survives sleep and outside feedback, it's probably clarity, not panic. Mistakes. Universalizing your experience. Premature closure, confirmation hunting. Quick reset. Test before you tell. Run a small experiment that could falsify your read. Now, how do these engines cluster? Grandiose reframe and moral licensing inflate the self, so it never has to kneel. Detachment as dominance and projection control the other, so you never have to feel. Certainty protects the world, so it never has to be complex. Together, they create a closed loop. I'm special, you're reactive, truth is simple, therefore I owe no repair. That's the spiritual ego's fortress. Here's your practical combo drill for this week. Pick one live tension. Do the mirror rule first. Offer one specific repair action with a deadline. Strip status signals from your language. Add one nuance rep to your conclusion. If the decision affects others, apply the 24-hour pause. If you feel smaller and warmer afterward, you're defusing engines. If you feel bigger and colder, one's still running. Engine 1, Grandiose Reframe. Why? What? How? Why this matters. Grandiose reframes are comfort food for shame and rocket fuel for the spiritual ego. When you've built identity around being healed, raw flaws feel dangerous because they threaten status and safety. So the mind upgrades them. Harshness becomes truth-telling. Control becomes holding a strong container. Avoidance becomes protecting my energy. It works in the short term. Your self-image stays polished, the community keeps applauding. But the costs are steep. Accountability stalls. People feel managed, not met. Trust dips because impact gets narrated away. The thing most people miss is that reframes don't just soften language. They redirect responsibility. If my medicine hurts you, the problem is your readiness, not my behavior. That keeps me superior and keeps you small. Classic narcissistic dynamics wrapped in virtue. If you remember nothing else, reframes anesthetize accountability. You can't repair what you've renamed as holy. What it is in plain terms, superiority in a halo. It sounds like, my intensity is sacred fire, or my pain made me a rare instrument. A more subtle version is apology theater. I'm sorry I triggered your wound. That centers their specialness and recasts your reaction as pathology. The silent conversion underneath is key. I have a pattern morphs into, I carry a calling. Once you cross that line, feedback becomes sacrilege. You'll cherry-pick praise as proof and invoice harm as the price of your gift. This clicked for a client who delivered an apology with TED-level eloquence. Gorgeous language, zero change. They weren't repairing, they were branding remorse. Another tell is comparative humility. At least I'm honest about it. That's superiority in a cardigan. Research-wise, this clusters with defensive self-enhancement. When flaws threaten self-esteem, people inflate positive narratives to regulate emotion. The narrative works, the relationship doesn't. How to dismantle it? Use a gravity drill that forces you out of mythology and into measurable repair. 3 lines, no ornaments. Cost, harm, limit. Cost is what your behavior took: time, trust, attention. Harm is what they felt: pressured, dismissed, unsafe. Limit is your current edge. I don't regulate well when I'm convinced I'm right. Then stop. No, because no lesson, no status cues, as a leader, in my lineage, with my training. The reason this works is it interrupts the dopamine loop of performance and reorients the nervous system to impact. You're retraining from image to accuracy. Pair the drill with 1 micro-change you can calendar within 7 days. I'll ask permission before offering critique, or I'll speak third in meetings for 2 weeks. Change beats confession every time. Let me show you exactly how with a common case. I'm just a truth teller, used to justify bluntness. The reframe says your knife is a scalpel. The reality is it's a hammer. Run the drill. Cost: my tone made you brace and edit yourself. Harm: you felt smaller and less honest around me. Limit: I don't yet downshift when I feel certain. Behavior change: I'll ask, do you want feedback or just presence? If you say no, I'll table it. That's repair, not rhetoric. Now here's where most people mess up. First, performative vulnerability. You share your shadow in ways that raise admiration instead of lowering load. The internal tell is you feel bigger after sharing, not warmer. Second, confession as bargain. I owned it, so can we move on? Ownership without a new behavior is a speech, not a fix. Third, status creep. Sneaking credentials into contrition. As someone who holds big spaces, cut it. Use the -1 boast rule. Before you send any repair, delete every phrase that signals rank, resilience, or revelation. If a sentence could double as a bio line, it doesn't belong in an apology. Practical drills. The 3F reset. Facts, feelings, fix. 2 observable actions you did. The feeling they named. 1 concrete next behavior. 30 seconds, max. The apology audit. If your repair contains the words lesson, medicine, gift, or trigger, rewrite in plain language. The quiet consequence. Attach a cost to yourself without fanfare. If I miss the next deadline, I'll hand the task to X. Consequences beat slogans. Microstory. A founder kept calling their intensity sacred fire. Team morale dipped. We banned metaphors for a month, installed the 3F reset, and added a quiet consequence. If feedback arrived late, they lost speaking order. 2 weeks later, fewer flinches, faster cycles. Same passion, less burn. Common mistakes to avoid. Turning pain into a credential. Stacking adjectives to soften impact. Asking for forgiveness inside the apology. Labeling their reaction instead of your action. Quick win today. Take 1 medicine story you tell about yourself and write version B with the drill. Cost, harm, limit, plus 1 calendar change. Share it with 1 impacted person and ask, what would make this easier next time? Then do the smallest piece of that. Final checkpoint. How do you act when your gift isn't needed? If you insert yourself or escalate claims, the engine's hot. Aim for this internal line. My experience matters, and my impact matters more. Engine 2. Detachment as dominance. Why this matters? When detachment gets weaponized, relationships look calm, while trust quietly erodes. Intimacy requires felt reciprocity. Your feelings can touch me and shape my behavior. Dominance in disguise keeps you untouchable. It soothes anxiety, but starves connection. If closeness once felt chaotic, distance feels like competence. But here's the cost. People stop bringing you their truth because your comm broadcasts. Nothing you feel will land here. Over time, friends, partners, and teams adapt around you instead of meeting you. You get compliance, not closeness. The thing most people miss is simple. Regulated isn't the same as relational. A flat tone can still be controlling, and a boundary can punish while pretending to protect. What it is in plain terms, coolness used as leverage. It sounds like, I'm not available for drama, when what you mean is, your discomfort won't shape me. It shows up as delay tactics, slow replies, vague availability, ghosting wrapped in protecting my peace. You deliver verdicts from a mountaintop. This no longer aligns, instead of, here's the friction I'm noticing. The power move is the distance. On the surface it reads as boundaries. Under the hood it's avoidance with prestige. Healthy boundaries protect your time and nervous system while honoring the other person's reality. Dominant detachment protects your image while erasing theirs. Another tell, you treat relational repair as low-status labor and rule-making as high-status clarity. That flip rewards control and penalizes care. How to dismantle it? Start with a boundary audit. Ask, is this boundary protecting me or punishing them? Protection is time-limited, specific, and accountable. Punishment is vague, moralizing, and indefinite. Protection sounds like, I'm taking tonight offline, and I'll respond by 3 p.m. tomorrow. Punishment sounds like, I don't do low-frequency conversations. Pair the audit with a simple script. Name, validate, choose. Name the observable behavior you did or saw. Validate the emotion it likely evoked. Choose a specific action you'll take, and one clear request. This keeps you connected while still drawing a line. Add one more safety, a re-entry plan. Boundaries without re-entry are breakups in soft clothes. Let me show you exactly how. Scenario, you cancelled last minute and your friend calls you out. Dominant detachment says, I'm not available for blame energy. The audit flips it. Name, I cancelled an hour before. Validate, you felt sidelined and pressured. Choose, I'm adding a 24-hour buffer and will text by noon if anything slips. If I miss again, I'll step back from planning. Re-entry, can we reschedule for Saturday at 2 or Sunday at 11? Com stays, control drops. Another scenario, a teammate is heated in Slack. Dominant detachment posts, let's not feed the drama. Try this instead. I see this as hot. I can do a 15-minute repair at 4 or 5. I'll mirror first, then we'll decide next steps. Now here's where most people mess up. They confuse regulation with suppression. Your voice is serene, but your body is braced. You're not de-escalating, you're dissociating. The tell is after the talk you feel brittle or superior, not connected. Another mistake, outsourcing care. You say, please self-soothe, when you cause the spike. Self-soothing is good practice. It's not a substitute for the repair you owe. And the content trap is sneaky. You add soothing words while keeping the power move unchanged. Silence, delay, exit. People learn from patterns, not phrasing. If your rhythms still leave them chasing you, it's dominance dressed as discernment. Practical drills. The 3-to-3 check. Before setting a boundary, state 3 specifics you'll do, behaviors you control. Then 3 specifics about your availability, times, formats, duration. Specifics reduce uncertainty. Uncertainty is where power hides. The repair window. Any rupture gets a scheduled 10 to 15-minute repair within 48 hours. Script. I care about this, so let's do a short repair Friday at 1. I'll mirror first. The re-entry clause. Every pause includes when and how you'll re-engage. If you can't name re-entry, you're punishing. Microstory. A client kept saying, I'm protecting my peace, while vanishing after feedback. Their team adapted around them, resentment spiked. We installed the repair window and a standing office hour for messy topics. 2 weeks later, fewer side DMs, cleaner asks, and the same calm, minus the power play. They said, I feel less in control and more respected. That's the shift, from invulnerable to dependable. Common mistakes to avoid. Spiritual euphemisms that moralize exit. Not aligned as a blanket. Infinite timeouts. No time frame, no plan, just limbo. One-way standards. You demand regulation, you don't show under stress. Boundary stacking. Piling rules to avoid naming one core ask. Quick win today. Before sending any, I'm not available message, run this. Checklist. Did I name the concrete behavior? Did I name at least one feeling it likely created? Did I offer a time-bound next step or alternative? If any answer is no, edit until all 3 are yes. Final checkpoint. Notice your body after you set the boundary. Do you feel slightly smaller and more open, or taller and untouchable? Smaller and open means protection. Taller and untouchable means dominance. Aim for calm plus contact. That's regulation in service of relationship, not control. Moral licensing in spiritual clothing. Why this matters. When doing good becomes your identity, it quietly turns into a credit system. You rack up points, meditation streaks, service, holding space, and your brain starts spending them on shortcuts. That's moral licensing. Prior virtue increases the likelihood of later lapses because it protects self-image. You feel entitled to bluntness, lateness, or unilateral calls, and when someone raises the impact, you instinctively reach for receipts. After all I do, the cost is sneaky. You stop seeing how behavior lands because you're busy remembering your intentions. Relationships don't run on intentions. They run on what you do when it's inconvenient. The thing most people miss: licensing doesn't feel like arrogance. It feels like fairness. I've earned a little leeway. That's how harm hides in halo light. What it is in plain terms: goodness used as a hall pass. It sounds like, my practice proves my heart. I've earned my truth. Or, given all I give, I shouldn't have to explain this. You create an invisible ledger and expect others to honor it. Deference, quick forgiveness, extra patience, without ever making those terms explicit. In spiritual clothing, the ledger just gets incense and vocabulary. You cite devotion as evidence, not information. A softer, trickier version is the comparative virtue move. I'm doing more work than most. That shifts focus from impact to ranking. Another tell is the service sandwich. You list what you've given before you name what you missed, hoping the calories cancel out the bill. They don't. Research on moral licensing is clear about the bias. Prior good deeds can increase the chance of cutting corners because they cushion guilt and shame. Spiritual materialism, using spiritual work to fortify ego, amplifies this by turning practice into status. How to dismantle it? Start with a ledger check. Write the IOUs you think others owe you. Thanks, grace, deference, silence, flexibility. Next to each ask, did we agree to this? If not, it's a private contract you're enforcing publicly. Then flip your metric from credit keeping to repair keeping. Replace hours meditated and people helped with 2 numbers. Time to repair and apology specificity. Time to repair is hours from rupture to your first repair attempt. Specificity is the count of concrete behaviors you name and change. Add one more safeguard: anonymous generosity. One meaningful act weekly with 0 attribution. If it feels empty without credit, you are buying points, not relieving pressure. Keep going until the sting fades. Let me show you exactly how this lands. You missed 2 deadlines on a project you lead. Licensing reflex. Of all people, I deserve grace. I've carried this team. That's the ledger talking. Try the mirror-first approach. I missed Tuesday and Thursday. You had to scramble. Then add a measurable fix. I've added a 24-hour buffer and a second reviewer. I'll deliver Monday by noon. If I miss, I'll hand the task to Sam. That's repair keeping. Notice there's no invoice for your service. No, but you reduce their load instead of rehearsing your goodness. Now here's where most people mess up. First, virtue signaling. Narrating your good deeds so future leniency feels earned. If you find yourself logging kindness for later use, you're building a tab, not trust. Second, intention worship. Putting your heart in the headline and impact in the footnote. My intention was pure might be true. It doesn't change the bill. Third, swinging to self-erasure. You hear no credits and stop setting needs. Keep the boundary, drop the moral invoice. I can't do late night calls is clean. Given all I give, I shouldn't have to explain this is licensing. Fourth, spiritual exceptionalism. My work is heavy. I need special rules. Maybe. Special rules still need consent. Practical drills. The ledger to agreement swap. Pick one expectation you've been carrying, quick replies, deference in meetings, and convert it into a plain agreement with consent. Can we try 24-hour response times? If that slips, we'll flag it. The debit audit. For 7 days, note moments you expected extra grace because of prior goodness. Choose one and do a proactive repair. I leaned on our friendship to excuse my lateness. I'm adjusting my buffers, and I'll comp lunch Friday if you're free. Anonymous generosity. One weekly act with no trace. Cover a bill, send a resource, make an introduction quietly. Microstory. A. Facilitator wore a 2-year meditation streak like armor. Feedback bounced off the badge. We paired the streak with a repair streak. 1 repair attempt weekly tracked. After 4 weeks, they said, weirdly, I feel lighter. Their team said, meetings feel kinder and shorter. That's the difference between credits and connection. Credits inflate you, connection widens you. Common mistakes to avoid. Helping to be seen helping. Comparative goodness as shield. Apology plus reassurance request. Don't smuggle. Tell me I'm good. Explaining at length before you fix. Quick win today. Send 1 60-second repair. Behavior, impact, next step, without any mention of intentions or past service. Then schedule 1 anonymous generosity act. Final checkpoint. After you help, do you feel more curious about your impact or more convinced of your goodness? Curiosity means you're present. Conviction means the ledger's open. Close it. Measure by repair, not reputation. Engine 4. Projection and spiritual gaslighting. Why this matters? Projection and spiritual gaslighting are the spiritual ego's stain removers. Anything that threatens your healed identity gets reassigned to someone else, and suddenly you're spotless. When power or status is at stake, it escalates. You don't just dodge the flaw, you make the other person doubt they ever saw it. In wellness spaces, it's extra slippery because the language sounds caring. Inner child, trigger, karma, nervous system. The outcome is the opposite of healing. People stop trusting their experience around you, get quieter, and become dependent on your interpretation. The thing most people miss is consent. Insight offered inside a conflict, without being asked, isn't therapy, it's control. And when you use therapeutic language to erase impact, it crosses into gaslighting, manipulating someone to question their reality. What it is in plain terms. I don't have that, you do, plus jargon that sanctifies avoidance. Projection locates your disowned traits, anger, envy, control, inside the other person so you can preserve a perfect self-image. Gaslighting upgrades the move by attacking their confidence in what happened. It sounds like that's your abandonment wound. When you broke a promise, you're projecting. When you made a cutting joke and got called on it, your energy is dysregulated. When you raised your voice, a softer version is clinical tone superiority. You speak calmly, analyze precisely, and treat their feelings like a case study. Calm doesn't equal care. A neutral tone can still carry contempt. How to dismantle it? The mirror rule first, always. Before any interpretation, repeat back the plain facts of what you did and the impact they reported. 1 sentence each. I missed the deadline. You felt dismissed and had to scramble. No motives, no diagnoses, no biographies. The reason this works is it re-anchors reality and soothes threat by being specific. Then ask permission before offering any frame. Do you want my read, or should I just fix this? If they say fix, you're done. Offer 1 concrete amend and timeline. If they invite your perspective, present it as a possibility, not a verdict. Use might, could, and own your bias. From my side, I notice I push when I'm anxious about outcomes. Let me show you exactly how with a common loop. They say, when you raised your voice, I froze. Projection replies, you're sensitive, I wasn't loud. Spiritual gaslighting upgrades it. Your nervous system is reenacting trauma. Mirror rule. I raised my voice. You froze and felt scared. Fix. Next time I'll pause and lower my volume or step outside. If I spike, can you signal volume, and I'll stop. If they ask for your read, keep it humble. I notice I get loud when I feel time pressure. I'm setting a timer for breaks, so I don't surge. Now we're in behavior change, not character surgery. Practical drills. The 3F reset. Facts, feelings, fix. 2 observable actions you did. The feeling they named. 1 concrete next behavior. 30 seconds max. It prevents theory sprawl. The no diagnosis in conflict pledge. If you're inside a rupture, ban labels. No projection. Attachment style. Shadow. Parts. Save pattern talk for a separate, scheduled conversation with consent. The repeat to understand rep. Reflect back until they say, yes, that's it. Then ask, did I miss anything? Only after that do you propose a fix. Now here's where most people mess up. Diagnosing without consent, especially when you're the one being confronted, turns insight into a weapon. Mixing roles, participant and therapist, creates a power imbalance. Hiding superiority in neutrality, cool voice, cold heart, deceives you and confuses them. And pseudo-facts creep in. Everyone thinks you're reactive, which is gossip dressed as data. Another trap is self-gaslighting, swallowing any critique whole and collapsing into shame. Balanced accountability uses part-truth spotting. Assume 10% of hard feedback is accurate and name it. The 10% I see is I interrupted twice. Then change that behavior. You don't need to agree with the other 90% to repair meaningfully. Micro stories. A mentor kept saying, that's your projection. anytime a mentee flagged boundary slippage. We installed Mirror First Plus consent. Week 1. I moved the meeting twice without checking. You felt sidelined. Do you want my read why I do this, or should I change it? Mentee said, change it. They added shared calendars and a 24-hour confirmation rule. Friction dropped, respect rose. Another client replaced your inner child talk with a single sentence. I broke the agreement. You felt dropped. Their partner's body relaxed for the first time in months. Simpler words, stronger repair. Common mistakes to avoid. Turning every conflict into a lesson. Using nervous system as a moral shield. Asking for their childhood story mid-rupture. Apologizing and immediately explaining why you're like this. Quick win today. In your next tense moment, ask only 2 questions. What did I do? How did it land? Then reflect back verbatim. Offer 1 fix with a deadline. If you feel the urge to explain, breathe twice and say, I can repair this. Final checkpoint. After hard feedback, do people feel steadier about what happened, or foggier and smaller? Steadier means you mirrored reality. Foggier means you massaged it. Stay with what is. Repair lives there. Engine 5. Certainty masquerading as clarity. Why this matters: certainty soothes anxiety, but it sedates thinking. When stakes feel high, your nervous system wants relief, not accuracy, so it grabs the fastest story that makes the discomfort stop. That story feels like stability in your body. Heart rate settles, shoulders drop, so it gets mislabeled as clarity. The cost is hidden but heavy. You start solving feelings, not problems. Relationships flatten into heroes and villains. Options shrink because only choices that fit the slogan survive. Communities drift toward purity tests and away from learning. The thing most people miss is that clarity and certainty feel similar. The difference is epistemic posture. Clarity holds the door open to new data. Certainty bolts it, then moralizes the lock. What it is in plain terms: aphorisms replacing analysis, binaries replacing gradients, vibes replacing evidence when evidence is available. It sounds like, if it's heavy, it's not for me. Energy never lies, or my higher self knows, used as trump cards to end inquiry. Heuristics can be helpful. They become harmful when they're used to regulate anxiety rather than to understand reality. Then logistics become misalignment, skill gaps become not my path, and ordinary conflict becomes low vibration. You get to avoid effort and vulnerability by declaring the universe already decided. A quieter variant is authority outsourcing, quoting a teacher, text, or algorithm to sanctify a preference. Authority can inform, but it can't do your context work for you. How to dismantle it? Train nuance reps and install friction before big claims. Nuance reps mean generating 3 plausible alternative explanations before you commit. Maybe it's capacity, maybe it's unclear roles, maybe it's values. Friction means a 24-hour pause on any download that affects other people, plus 1 outside check from a grounded person who isn't impressed by your certainty. Add 1 more safeguard: test before you tell. Design a small experiment that could falsify your read. If it survives sleep, scrutiny, and a test, you're probably in clarity, not panic relief. Let me show you exactly how with a common scenario. A collaborator misses 2 meetings. Certainty says, we're misaligned, end it. Nuance reps. 1. They're over capacity. 2. My communication was vague. 3. Priorities shifted. Microtest. Send a 1-paragraph agenda, 3 concrete time options, and a yes/no by noon tomorrow. If they miss again, you have pattern data. If they respond and repair, your story changes. Another, you feel dread about a project. Certainty calls it not meant. Nuance. Dread could be overwhelm, unclear scope, or genuine mismatch. Microtest. Shrink the task to a 20-minute chunk, clarify the first deliverable, and set a single check-in. If dread drops with structure, you had a scope problem. If it persists after tweaks and feedback, mismatch is more likely. Practical drills. The 3C filter: claim, conditions, check. Claim. State your current read in 1 sentence. Conditions. List what would change your mind. Check. Identify the smallest step that tests the claim without big collateral. Claim. This partnership isn't workable. Conditions. Consistent response within 24 hours and shared agenda adherence would change my view. Check. Try a 2-week sprint with daily 10-minute stand-ups. The 2 chairs rep. Argue the opposite position for 60 seconds. Steal the strongest arguments against your view. If you can't do it, you're in comfort, not clarity. Fact/meaning split. 2. Columns. Facts you could prove on camera versus the meanings you're assigning. Ensure at least 2 plausible meanings exist before you lock one. Now here's where most people mess up. They equate decisiveness with certainty. Decisive is a behavior, move with a plan. Certain is a belief, claim exemption from revision. You can be decisive and still hold your conclusions lightly. The tell is your response to disconfirming evidence. Clarity adapts. Certainty doubles down or invents a spiritual rationale to preserve the story. Another trap is sacred slogans. Phrases like, everything happens for a reason, or trust the universe can comfort. They should not be used to shut down reparable problems. Use them after you've done diligence, not instead of it. Micro stories. A client ended a friendship with our paths diverged. Clean line, 0 inquiry. We ran nuance reps and a 20-minute repair. Turned out it was an expectations mismatch. One boundary and a cadence reset later, the friendship got simpler. Another leader planned to cancel a team initiative with the energy shifted. We ran the 3C filter, tested a smaller pilot with clearer roles, and learned the actual issue was role ambiguity. The initiative stayed, the story changed, and anxiety dropped because reality got handled. Common mistakes to avoid. Universalizing your testimony. What worked for you becomes law for all. Premature closure. Ending the conversation where curiosity should begin. Confirmation hunting. Only seeking data that supports your first take. Over-indexing vibes when objective signals exist and are easy to gather. Quick win today. Add an unless sentence to your next firm statement. I'm stepping away from this project, unless we can agree on weekly check-ins and clearer roles by Friday. That single word keeps the door to reality open and signals good faith. Final checkpoint. After a strong decision, do you feel steady and still curious? That's clarity. If you feel invincible and uninterested in new data, that's certainty in costume. Choose steady plus curious. That's how wisdom breathes and repair stays possible. The compassion gap. The one tell you can't fake. Here's the tell the spiritual ego can't spoof. The compassion gap. As spiritual language climbs, compassion behaviors quietly drop. You hear more talk about love, presence, alignment, while patience, repair, and generosity get scarce when it's inconvenient. Calm is easy on camera. Care is costly off camera. Let's define compassion so it's testable. Compassion isn't a vibe. It's behavior aimed at relieving someone else's load, especially when it costs you time, status, or comfort. Think, tolerating messy emotion without downgrading the person, initiating repair unprompted, and offering small flexibility when you're stretched. If it can't be calendared, it's not a behavior. Why this matters? Without compassion, a healed identity turns brittle. People don't trust your calm, they track your follow-through. Attachment 101. Trust forms when repair follows rupture. Trauma-informed care 101. Safety increases when people feel seen and not punished for having feelings. If your presence makes others careful instead of relaxed, your nervous system is broadcasting control, not care. The master metric trio is simple. Patience under heat, time to repair, generosity under stress. Patience shows up as staying with anger, grief, or anxiety without labeling it low frequency. Time to repair is hours from rupture to your first repair attempt, not to your first explanation. Generosity under stress is a tiny give when you'd rather retreat. 20 minutes to help someone stuck, a reschedule that costs you a bit, or a quiet resource share. Now here's where most people mess up. They confuse compassionate tone with compassionate action. A soft voice paired with exit is compassion theater. Another mistake is outsourcing compassion, sending love, while withholding the one behavior that would reduce pressure. And selective compassion is sneaky. Warmth flows up the status ladder, but not sideways or down. The spiritual ego loves usefulness. Compassion treats status as irrelevant. Let's make this concrete with 3 stress tests. First, the least useful person test. In any room, pick the person who can't advance your goals. Do you still orient to their dignity? Make eye contact, include them, listen without scanning for an exit. If usefulness steers your attention, the gap's open. Second, the private versus public split. Are your kindest moments public-facing? For 1 week, bias toward private kindness. A repair text no one sees, a quiet resource, a check-in that doesn't become content. If the act feels wasted unseen, that's data. Keep going until the pull for credit drops. Third, the elevator test. Mid-conversation, Your status gets interrupted, someone shinier enters, or your point gets dismissed. Track your body. Do you tighten, go condescending, or subtly punish? Irritability at status interruption is a clean compassion tell. Regulated compassion stays steady when attention shifts. You might be thinking, what if I'm just burnt out? Good question. Compassion fatigue is real, emotional exhaustion that blunts empathy and action. The difference from spiritual ego is the move you make next. Fatigue reaches for rest and recalibration. The ego reaches for moralizing and withdrawal. If you're depleted, name capacity plainly, reduce commitments, and set re-entry. Don't frame exhaustion as high-frequency discernment. Rest so you can return to repair, not to avoid it. Here's a shortcut. Replace compassion statements with standards. A statement is, I practice radical compassion. A standard is, I reply to repair invitations within 48 hours. I do one anonymous generosity act weekly. Or in conflict, I mirror before I explain. Standards live on calendars, statements live on feeds. Practical drills you can install today. The 3-minute pause. When someone brings heat, by 3 minutes of presence before solving. Script. I can stay with you for 3 minutes to really hear this. Then we'll choose a next step. Mirror, summarize, ask, what matters most right now? It interrupts fix or flee and gives care time to land. The 60-second repair. Once a week, pick a micro-rupture, late reply, clipped tone, missed cue, and send a 60-second message. Behavior, impact, next step. I cut you off twice, you felt sidelined. Tomorrow I'll speak third and keep notes. Small and repeatable rewires identity from rightness to relatedness. Generosity under stress. Pre-commit a tiny reserve, 1 20-minute overflow slot, or a small fund for someone's essentials. Use it when you're not in the mood. Inconvenience is part of the practice. It inoculates against performative care. Common pitfalls to avoid. Compassion as superiority. I feel so deeply, used to justify control or fragility. Boundary-only care. Tight limits without re-entry or accountability. Explanations before relief. Dumping intent while the other person still carries the cost. Conditional kindness. Warmth only when praised, withdrawn when challenged. 2. Micro-stories. A manager swapped. Let's not feed the drama. 4. I see this is hot. I can do a 15-minute repair at 4 or 5. I'll mirror first. Meetings got shorter and kinder. A facilitator installed a 48-hour repair standard. Their first message. I minimized your concern Monday. I'll summarize first in today's call, then ask if you want fixes. The recipient said, I feel safer already. Same insight library, different use. Quick self-assessment for tonight. After your last conflict, did you prioritize feeling understood or reducing their load? If your first move was a long, intense story, flip the order next time. Offer one concrete fix with a deadline, then ask for space to share your perspective later. Final checkpoint. After hard moments, do people feel steadier, clearer, and more resourced, or quieter, foggier, and more dependent on you? Steadier means compassion is alive. Fog and dependence mean power dressed as care. Close the gap with standards, reps, and private kindness. That's the one tell you can't fake. The purity spiral. How communities amplify ego. You've seen how the engines work in a person. Now watch how a group turns them into a culture. A purity spiral starts when a community rallies around a value with no clear definition or ceiling. High vibration, authenticity, non-attachment, trauma-informed, sovereignty. Without a shared endpoint, people prove belonging by signaling more of it. Signals escalate, nuance shrinks, and belonging gets traded for performance. Here's the mechanism in plain language. First comes standard inflation. Yesterday's proof gets recast as basic, so members intensify. Daily meditation becomes 2 hours before sunrise, then quarterly silent retreats. Clean eating becomes no sugar, then no fruit, then water-only fasts. Practices that started as tools quietly become purity rituals. The social payoff is real. Louder applause, faster status. The psychological payoff is relief from ambiguity. The group's rules outsource your uncertainty. But complexity doesn't disappear, it hides. Doubt goes underground. People smile in public and vent in private, and shame fills the gap between image and experience. Next, language hardens. Plain words, sad, angry, unsure, get replaced by prestige jargon. Somatic discharge, parts activation, ancestral field, high-frequency boundary. Jargon isn't bad. It becomes a gate when it's used to signal rank and silence dissent. The dynamic is classic. If you can't speak the code, your feedback lacks context. If you can speak it, you're pressured to use it to prove you belong. Over time, sentences elongate while accountability shortens. The room sounds wise and learns less. Then moral outbidding kicks in. Someone posts a high-standard take. Someone else tops it. No screens after 9 becomes no tech at home. Then no tech, no small talk, no news. Outbidding feels principled from the inside and looks competitive from the outside. Leaders, often unconsciously, reward definitiveness over curiosity. Crisp binaries get the most traction because they reduce cognitive load. The dopamine loop is simple. Clear rule, quick praise, tighter rule, bigger praise. Add markets and the spiral accelerates. Once identity gets monetized, retreats, cohorts, certifications, the brand must defend the standard. Admission criteria tighten. Rituals formalize. Feedback channels narrow to protect the model. It isn't usually malice, it's incentives. Teachers feel pressure to mint fresh distinctions. Members feel pressure to adopt them. And the norm shifts from help each other to protect the framework. Repair becomes risky because it threatens revenue, so harm gets rephrased as growth edges, and critics become unready. Common myths cement the loop. The exile myth says leaving equals regression. If you go, you've lost the path. The rescue myth says, we're the only ones who get it, manufacturing scarcity and urgency. The providence myth reframes compliance as destiny. If you're meant to be here, you'll align without question. All three move the goal from learning to loyalty. That's how spiritual ego becomes culture. Superiority, certainty, and control wrapped in shared ideals. How do you spot a spiral fast? 2 tells. 1. The descent cost is high. People who ask good questions get labeled or iced out. 2. The repair trail is thin. Ruptures generate statements, not specific fixes with timelines. If mistakes only appear as teachings and never as measurable change, status beat humility. Now, inoculation. If you lead, publish limits. Say out loud where the framework is strong and where it fails. We're solid on nervous system basics and conflict scripts. We're light on money and logistics. Limits expand belonging because they invite complement, not compliance. Next, install dissent rituals. Make questioning a role, not a risk. Rotate a devil's advocate. Run anonymous Q&As. Red team core practices quarterly. When critique is built in, it stops being betrayal. Third, flip status signals. Praise repair, specificity, and warmth over ascetic feats and aphorisms. Make, I changed my mind after feedback, the highest status sentence in the room. If you're a member, try the 2-seat test. Keep a metaphorical chair for a thoughtful outsider. Can you explain your group's core ideas in plain words without prestige jargon? If not, you're drifting into insularity. Use the quiet yes check. If agreements come fast and action lags, you're seeing compliance without buy-in. Slow the decision, ask for 1 concrete objection per person, and set a review date. And keep a private first rule for compassion. Match every public virtue cue with 1 private repair or generosity act no one sees. Concrete tools help. Start a Nuance leaderboard. Highlight moments where someone revised a stance after evidence. Add a repair KPI. Time to repair for community ruptures, reported monthly. Run a rule review monthly. Pick 1 norm and ask where it's helpful, where it's harmful, and what change you'll test for 2 weeks. Create an exit ritual that honors leaving as a valid outcome, not a failure. Relationships often need permeability to stay honest. Final reality check. Is your community getting narrower, harsher, and more performative, or wider, kinder, and more grounded? If circles keep shrinking, rules keep stacking, and questions feel dangerous, you're in a purity spiral. Slow escalation. Reward repair. Publish limits. Bake in dissent. Flip status. That's how a group stays human while it aims high. Real healing versus performative healing, a side-by-side. Let's make this practical and observable. Real healing shows up when no one's watching. Performative healing shows up when attention is available. Real lowers other people's load. Performative lowers your anxiety about image. If you remember 1 filter, use this. Could a camera verify it? If yes, it's healing behavior. If not, it's branding. Start with flexibility versus rigidity. Real healing widens your range. Plans can pivot without turning into morality plays. You can say, I was wrong, and actually change course. Performative healing tightens rules as a substitute for trust. Everything becomes a referendum on alignment. The tell is how plans die. Real says, let's adjust the scope and cadence. Performative says, this no longer serves, and disappears. Next, repair skill. Real healing shortens time to repair and increases specificity. You notice a misstep and initiate without being chased. Your message leads with behavior and impact. I missed the deadline, you had to scramble. Then you offer a concrete next step and a timeline. Performative healing delays repair until optics are clean. The apology arrives after the brand is safe. It centers intent. My heart was in the right place, and lands vague. Warmth versus performance. Real healing feels warmer the closer you get. People in your blast radius, partners, teammates, family, report more ease around you over time. Performative healing is glossy at a distance and cold up close. The public tone is serene. Private responsiveness is thin. The quick test: ask 3 close people. Do I feel easier to work with lately? Their answers beat your self-perception. Curiosity under critique. Real healing stays curious when challenged. You'll hear, tell me more, and see notes being taken. Performative healing fires doctrine or collapses. You'll hear, that's your projection, instead of, where did I miss you? A micro rule helps. Mirror before meaning. Reflect their point back first. Only then offer context if asked. Behaviors versus value statements. Real healing shows up as visible micro-changes you can schedule. I'll speak third. I'll send agendas 24 hours ahead. I'll confirm by 5. Performative healing offers mottos. I'm committed to growth. I honor your truth. Values are fine. Behavior pays the bill. If it fits on a calendar, it's real. Rules versus relationships. Performative stacks rules to manage fear. There's always a new protocol, cleanse, or sacred hour. Real invests in relationships, so fewer rules are needed. Boundaries include re-entry and accountability. I'm off tonight. I'll reply by 3 tomorrow. After conflict, ask, do we have more rules or more understanding? More rules means fear. More understanding means growth. Let's side by side a few lines you can use today. Performative. I hold compassionate boundaries and honor my nervous system. Real. I can't make tonight's call. That's late notice. It likely felt disrespectful. I'll email notes by 10 and take the next task. If I miss again, I'll hand it off. Performative. I don't entertain low-frequency conversations. Real. I'm getting sharp. I need 45 minutes to reset. Can we pick this up at 3 for 20 minutes? If not, I'll write 2 options by 5. Performative. I've done my work. Real. I interrupted twice, you felt sidelined. Tomorrow I'll speak third and send notes. Metrics that matter. Track 3 numbers. 14 days. Time to repair. Hours from rupture to first repair attempt. Apology specificity. Count behaviors you name. And follow through rate. Percentage of promised changes delivered on time. You don't need fancy tools. A notes app works. Trend lines beat vibes. Now, depletion clarity. Compassion fatigue is real. Emotional exhaustion, where empathy and compassionate actions decline and irritability rises. Burnout overlaps. If you're numb, don't spiritualize it. Name capacity and timeline. I'm at capacity. I'll respond by noon tomorrow. Then actually rest, sleep, food, a short walk. Keep your repair promise. Rest isn't a virtue badge, it's fuel for care. Common traps to avoid. Overcorrection into self-attack. Stay behavioral. Ban identity verdicts for 24 hours after rupture. Jargon relapse under stress. Use courtroom language. Verbs, nouns, timelines. Save shadow and parts for later. Apology as ask. Don't smuggle. Am I still good? Offer the fix now. Schedule your need later. Delegating empathy. If your small action would relieve pressure, don't outsource it to their work. A small weekly cadence you can copy. Monday. 1 micro-humility rep. Name a small fault plus a 24-hour tweak. Wednesday. Ask 1 narrow friction question. What's one thing I do in meetings that makes collaboration harder? Reflect back verbatim and capture 1 change. Thursday. Do a 15-minute repair on a micro-rupture using 3F, facts, feelings, fix. Saturday. 1 anonymous generosity act. No trace, real relief. Sunday. Update your 3 metrics. Text your accountability buddy 1 win and 1 tweak. If you're worried the other person won't meet you, hold 2 truths. Boundaries still matter. Moralizing doesn't help. You can reduce harm on your side while keeping standards. The difference is you stop turning the mismatch into a superiority story. Final quick test. After your growth move, do people have less to carry? If yes, that's real healing. If they have to decode you, soothe you, or chase you, it's performative. Shrink the boast, lengthen the repair, and let your calendar prove it. The Field Guide, 10 self-assessments to disarm spiritual ego. Treat this like a 1-week lab. 10 quick checks. No shame, just signal. Name it, test it, tweak it. Trigger humility check. Capture every, I'm above this, thought for 72 hours, verbatim. Then flip one into a learning ask. What part of me is uncomfortable here? Say out loud before any eye roll. Some of this is about me. And find 1 inch that's true. You're building flexibility, not self-blame. Boundary purpose check. Label your last 3 boundaries, protection or punishment. Protection is time-limited, specific, accountable. Punishment is vague, moralizing, indefinite. Rewrite 1 punishment into protection. Add a time frame, re-entry, and your responsibility. I'll pause tonight and reply by 3 p.m. tomorrow. Beats. I don't do that energy. Motive audit. Ask, am I helping to help or to be seen helping? Scan your last 3 good deeds. If you posted 2, hinted at 1, or felt empty without credit, you've got a status signal. Countermove, 1 anonymous act this week. No receipts, no screenshots. If it stings, that's data. Repeat until the sting fades. Feedback tolerance test. Rate your defensiveness, 1 to 10. At a 6, can you mirror 1 sentence before explaining? Use the 10% rule. Assume 10% of any critique is accurate, and name it first. The 10% I see is I interrupted twice. Then stop and breathe. If your heart spikes, count 5 slow exhales before any context. Credit ledger scan. List the invisible IOUs you expect. Deference, quick forgiveness, praise, flexibility. Circle those not explicitly agreed. Pick 1 relationship and clear it. I've been expecting quick forgiveness without asking. Here's what I'll do differently next time. Does that help? Move from entitlement to consent. Projection pause. Before you say your trigger, your shadow, or you're projecting, run the mirror rule. 2 facts you did, 1 feeling they named. I cancelled late. You felt dismissed. Then ask consent. Do you want my read, or just the fix? If they say fix, you fix. No theory mid-rupture. Nuance reps. Take 1 strong opinion and generate 3 plausible alternatives that also fit the facts. Then run a micro-test that could disconfirm your view. Add the unless sentence to a decision. I'm stepping back, unless we align on weekly check-ins by Friday. You're training ambiguity tolerance without stalling. Repair reps, minimum 1 per week. Pick a micro-rupture, late reply, clip tone, missed cue, and send a 60-second repair. Behavior, impact, next step. I cut you off twice, you felt sidelined. Tomorrow I'll speak 3rd and keep notes. Track time to repair. Shorter over time equals growth. Private kindness. 1 untraceable act weekly for someone with no leverage over you. Money, time, or attention. If you're depleted, shrink the act, don't skip it. 5 minutes of real help counts. This starves status. Motives and trains care to survive inconvenience. Status diet. 7 days without signaling your work. No as a healer. No streak screenshots, no downloads. Replace performance with behavior. Repairs, reach-outs, logistics. If you create content, ship 1 plain, useful tutorial with 0 elevation cues. Notice cravings to post a virtue signal. That's identity glue softening. How to run the week. Day 1. Trigger humility and boundary purpose. Day 2. Motive audit and feedback tolerance. Day 3. Ledger scan and projection pause. Day 4. Nuance reps. Day 5. Repair rep. Day 6. Private kindness. Day 7. Status diet recap. 15 minutes a day. If life's heavy, do 5 days well. 1, 2, 6, 8, 10. Add simple metrics, so this isn't vibes only. Track 3 numbers for 14 days. Time to repair. Hours to first repair attempt. Apology specificity. Number of concrete behaviors named. And follow-through rate. Percentage of promised changes completed on time. Graph weekly. Watch trend lines, not perfection. Safeguards that keep you honest. Accountability buddy. Share this list. Give them 2 interrupts. Mirror first. -1 boast. And 24-hour veto power on hot takes that affect others. Plain language pledge. In conflict, use verbs, nouns, and timelines you'd trust in a courtroom. No mystical terms while stakes are live. Rest protocol. If irritability, numbness, or withdrawal show up, assume depletion. Say, I'm at capacity. I'll respond by noon tomorrow. Actually rest, then repair. That's compassion fatigue management, not moralizing. Common mistakes to avoid. Turning this into a purity test. Practice, not penance. Overcorrecting into self-attack. Ban identity verdicts for 24 hours post-rupture. Theory hoarding. One in, one out. For every concept you consume, ship one measurable change within 7 days. Or skip the concept. 2 micro-stories. A client swore they had no ledger. Day 2 they typed, "After all I do," and caught it. They swapped in, "I missed 2 deadlines, here's my new cadence." Meeting got warmer and shorter. Another client tried the status diet. The first 48 hours felt itchy. By day 4, they reported feeling quieter and closer with their team. Fewer posts, more repairs. Sunday night check-in. Did my time to repair shorten? Did my language get plainer? Did one person close to me feel more at ease? If 2 are yes, keep the reps. If not, shrink the goals, extend the week, and continue. Progress is friction you notice and fix. The anti-narcissism practice stack. Think of this like strength training for humility, repair, and warmth. No identity claims, just repeatable reps your calendar can hold. The goal is simple. Make repair easier than righteousness and compassion cheaper than performance. Daily micro-rep. Call one small fault out loud and pair it with a 24-hour tweak. Keep it boring and verifiable. I rushed that email. I'll read it aloud before sending today. I over-explained. I'll answer in 3 sentences on our next call. The reason this works is repetition lowers shame spikes and retrains your identity from good person to learning person. The internal tell it's working is a slight relief after ownership. Not a high, not a crash. Daily guardrail. The -1 boast rule. Before any public share about growth, delete one phrase that signals rank, resilience, or revelation. If it makes you look evolved, cut it. This starves the performance loop that turns compassion into content. Weekly community reality check. Ask 2 trusted people for 1 narrow friction point. Script it so it's safe. What's one thing I do in meetings that makes collaboration harder? Reflect back their exact words and name 1 behavior you'll change. Put the change in a shared doc so accountability lives outside your head. Rotate who you ask to avoid building a new approval hierarchy. Weekly ritual. The 48-hour repair window. Any rupture, large or tiny, gets a scheduled, time-boxed repair within 2 days. The line is, "I care about this. Can we do a 15-minute repair Thursday at 1? Speed beats polish. Use the 3F during the call. Facts, feelings, fix. And end with a measurable next step. This compresses time to repair and teaches your nervous system that repair is safe and fast. Weekly decision hygiene. Nuance reps plus a decision buddy. For any choice that hits others, generate 3 plausible alternative explanations. Then run your 3C, claim, conditions, check, past 1 grounded person. Ask them to poke holes. Sleep on it once. If the claim survives friction and rest, proceed. You're training decisiveness without certainty theater. Monthly rupture and repair drill. Run a 20-minute simulation with a friend using a real tension. 10 minutes to mirror and own, 10 minutes for them to push and refine. Keep a timer. You're building a reliable script under stress, so repair latency drops in the wild. This is exposure therapy for ego. Repetition normalizes kneeling. Monthly metrics that keep you honest. Track 3 numbers for 30 days. 1. Time to repair. Hours from rupture to first repair attempt. 2. Apology specificity. Count concrete behaviors named per repair. 3. Follow-through rate. Percentage of promised changes completed on time. Graph weekly. You want trend lines moving in the right direction, not perfection. Numbers protect you from the halo effect. Quarterly identity fast. 7 days without posting insights, humble brags, or as someone who, if you create content, ship tutorials, logistics, or actual resources, no revelations. Use the freed bandwidth to do 2 extra repair reps and 1 anonymous generosity act. Expect cravings to perform. They're information, not orders. Always on lens, the lowest status stance. In any interaction, speak as if you have the least leverage. Strip jargon, slow your pace, and offer choices. Ask, how does this land if I have no status here? Then change 1 behavior. Speak third, summarize before asserting, or provide 2 options instead of 1 directive. This reduces the subtle hierarchies that fuel spiritual ego. Safeguard, An accountability partner with veto power. Choose someone not impressed by you. Agree on 2 interrupts. Mirror first and -1 boast. That stop you mid-pattern. Give them a 24-hour veto on hot takes that affect others. Reciprocity keeps it clean. You hold the same power for them. You're externalizing breaks, so insight outruns impulse. Compassion fatigue protocol. When irritability, numbness, or withdrawal shows up, assume depletion. Name capacity and timeline. I'm at capacity. I'll respond by noon tomorrow. And stick to it. Sleep, food, a short walk, then your 48-hour repair. Don't moralize exhaustion or rename it discernment. Rest so you can return to repair. That's biology, not betrayal of standards. Common pitfalls and fixes. Overcorrection into self-attack. Ban identity verdicts for 24 hours after any rupture. Only facts and fixes. Theory hoarding. 1 in, 1 out. For every concept consumed, ship 1 measurable change within 7 days, or skip it. Jargon relapse in conflict. Recommit to courtroom language. Verbs, nouns, timelines. Boundary theatre. Every limit needs re-entry or a review date. I'll pause until Friday at 3, then we'll decide. Microstory. A client felt the urge to post a lesson every time conflict spiked. We swapped the impulse for a repair text. For weeks later, meetings were shorter, Slack was calmer, and 2 strained relationships softened. They said, I feel. Less impressive and more useful. That's the metric. A simple week you can copy. Monday to Friday, 1 micro-humility rep each morning. Wednesday, 2 friction asks. Capture 1 change in a shared doc. Thursday, a 20-minute repair drill. Saturday, identity fast continues. 1 anonymous kindness. Sunday, update your metrics and text your partner 2 lines. 1 win, 1 tweak, and schedule next week's repair window. Common mistakes and how to avoid them. Let's keep you out of the ruts that quietly reboot the spiritual ego. I'll name the trap, why it happens, and the fix you can apply today. Overcorrecting into self-shame. You learn these tools and start calling yourself terrible. That's ego turned inside out, still self-obsessed, now with gloom. Why it happens. Shame feels like control when you can't tolerate uncertainty. Fix, the 24-hour rule. After any rupture, ban identity verdicts. Only facts and fixes. I missed the deadline, you had to scramble. I'll deliver by 10 a.m. and add a 24-hour buffer. If a camera couldn't verify it, it's not for this window. Swapping authorities instead of thinking. You drop superiority and glue yourself to a new teacher, text, or algorithm. It feels safer to outsource judgment than risk being wrong. Fix, rotate influences quarterly and run the 2 chairs rep. Argue the opposite view for 60 seconds. If your stance can't survive a smart counterpoint, it's attachment, not clarity. Keep your decision buddy, but give them 24-hour veto on process, not permanent custody of your mind. Jargon relapse under stress. Heat spikes and outcomes shadow, alignment, parts, nervous system. It soothes you and confuses them. Fix, the plain language pledge, verbs, nouns, and timelines you'd trust in a courtroom. I cancelled late, you felt dropped. I'll give 24 hours next time. Tape 3 words on your laptop. Facts, feelings, fix. Compassion theatre. Soft tone, 0 relief. You sound kind and exit fast. Why it happens. Performance pays instantly. Relief costs you time and status. Fix, standards over statements. 48-hour repair response. 1 anonymous generosity act weekly. 1 3-minute stay during heat. If it can't be scheduled, it won't be practiced. Apology as ask. You apologize and smuggle. Do you still love me? That shifts the burden to the injured person. Fix, separate repair and reassurance. Offer the fix now. Schedule your need later. I'll send the deck by 10 and take notes tomorrow. Can we talk about my spiral at 4? Sequence beats smuggling. Boundary theatre. You pile rules to avoid the core ask. It reads organized, lands punitive. Fix, name the root need plus reentry. I need 24 hours notice. If urgent, text urgent, and I'll reply by noon. Include a review date. Let's revisit in 2 weeks. Selective accountability. You're pristine with clients and sloppy at home. Or the reverse. The people closest get the leftovers. Fix, transplant 1 standard to your weakest arena. If your team gets the 48-hour repair window, your partner gets it too. Consistency beats brilliance. Moral licensing creep. You cite goodness to excuse impact. After all I give. Why it happens. prior virtue cushions guilt and fuels shortcuts. Fix, ledger to agreement swap. Convert invisible IOUs into explicit agreements with consent. Track 2 numbers for 14 days. Time to repair and apology specificity. Add 1 anonymous act weekly to starve status. Certainty addiction. You close inquiry early because relief feels like wisdom. Fix, the 3C filter, claim, conditions, check, plus a 24-hour pause on decisions that hit others. Add an unless sentence. I'm stepping back, unless we align on weekly check-ins by Friday. Test before you tell. Projection in kind words. You relocate your flaw into them and sanctify it with therapy speak. Fix, mirror first, consent second. I missed the handoff, you felt sidelined. Do you want my read or just the fix? If they choose fix, you're done. Accountability isn't a seminar. Self-gaslighting as humility. You swallow every critique whole and collapse into shame. Fix, the 10% rule. Name the slice you see and change that behavior. The 10% I see is I interrupted twice. Tomorrow I'll speak third. Confusing depletion with discernment. Numbness gets framed as wisdom. Fix, capacity plus timeline. I'm at capacity. I'll respond by noon tomorrow. Rest, then keep your repair promise. Biology first, philosophy later. Theory hoarding. You collect frameworks and change nothing. Fix, 1 in, 1 out. For every concept you consume, ship 1 measurable change within 7 days. Or skip it. Quick rescue kit for live heat. 2 questions, then zip it. What did I do? How did it land? -1 boast. Delete any phrase that makes you look evolved. Smallest fix first. Pick the least impressive change that reduces their load today. Decision buddy. Run your 3C through 1 grounded person before acting. Micro story. A leader kept saying, protecting my peace, while ghosting tough feedback. We installed the plain language pledge, a 48-hour repair window, and the smallest fix first rule. 2 weeks later, shorter meetings, lower tension, 1 teammate said, I trust you again, not because of new wisdom, because relief arrived sooner. Final check, after your growth move. Do others have less to carry? If not, adjust. Less theatre, more repair. That's the lane. Case walkthrough, from performative to real. Let's put this in the wild with a composite case. We'll call them Jargon. Smart, sincere, visible platform. Daily practice, clean language, kind reputation. Inside their team, though, folks felt graded, not met. Conflicts got doctrine. Repairs were slow. And the 5 engines were humming. Grandiose reframes, detachment as dominance, moral licensing, projection wrapped in therapy speak, and certainty dressed as clarity. We started by changing the scorecard. No identity claims, just 3 behavioral KPIs on a whiteboard. Time to repair. Hours from rupture to first repair attempt. Apology specificity. Number of concrete behaviors named. Follow-through rate. Percentage of promised changes delivered on time. Day 3, a teammate said, You shut me down in the meeting. Old reflex. I was protecting the container. We ran 3F facts, feelings, fix. I cut you off twice. You felt dismissed. I'll speak third tomorrow and send notes by 10. Time to repair, 2 hours. Specificity, 2 behaviors. Follow through, 100% next day. Tiny real fast. The room softened. Next, we targeted detachment as dominance. Jargon loved, protecting my peace, then went silent. We installed a 48-hour repair window and the 3-to-3 check for boundaries. 3 specifics Jargon would control and 3 windows of availability. A live example. I'll reply within 24 hours, confirm changes in writing, and log feedback in a shared doc. I'm available Wednesday 2 to 4, Friday 9 to 11, or Monday after 10. Com stayed, contact increased. 2 weeks in, escalations dropped, meetings shortened, and Jargon reported feeling smaller and warmer after boundaries instead of taller and brittle. That's the physiology shift you want. Grandiose reframes were next. Jargon's radical honesty had been landing like a hammer. We swapped mythology for mechanics using the cost, harm, limit drill. My tone made you tense and stole attention from your point. You felt small. When I'm convinced I'm right, I don't regulate well yet. Then a calendar-bound micro-change. I'll ask permission before offering critique. If you say not now, I'll table it. 2 weeks later, collaborators reported more direct agreement and fewer side chats. The gift got quieter, the trust got louder. Moral licensing needed a hard reset. Jordan's service, circles, pro bono sessions, intros, had become a quiet ledger. Feedback bounced off the halo. We paired their practice streak with a repair streak. One repair attempt weekly, tracked. We layered in anonymous generosity. One meaningful act a week with zero trace. The first 2 weeks stung, no credit felt wrong. By week 3, the itch eased. The ledger lost power. A teammate said, "I feel considered, not managed." That sentence beats 100 affirmations. Projection and spiritual gaslighting were obvious in tense moments. A partner said, "When you raised your voice, I froze." Old Jordan. "Your nervous system is dysregulated. That's your abandonment wound." New rule: mirror first, consent second. I raised my voice. "You froze and felt scared. Do you want my read or just the fix?" Partner said, "Just fix." Fix. If I spike, I'll pause. If you signal volume, I'll stop. Fights got shorter and less global. Same insight capacity, zero weaponized language. Certainty masquerading as clarity showed up around a collaboration. 2 missed stand-ups, and Jordan wanted to end it with paths diverged. We ran nuance reps, capacity, unclear roles, different priorities. Then the 3C filter: claim, conditions, check. Claim: this isn't workable. Conditions: if we do daily 10-minute stand-ups and share agendas 24 hours ahead, and misses drop by 80% in 2 weeks, I'll reconsider. Check, 2-week pilot. It worked. The story updated. Anxiety dropped because reality was handled. We also inoculated against the purity spiral in their small team. 3 practices. Mistake minute at the top of meetings. One thing you got wrong and the tweak you made. Rotating devil's advocate to poke holes in shiny ideas. Rule review monthly. Pick one norm, ask where it helps and harms, then run a 2-week change. Status signals flipped. The highest status sentence became, "I changed my mind after feedback." That one line made humility contagious. 8 weeks in, the numbers told the tale. Time to repair averaged 12 to 24 hours. Apology specificity rose from 1 to 3 behaviors per repair. Follow-through stabilized around 85 to 90% with proactive flags on misses. Public language got plainer. Verbs, nouns, timelines replaced prestige jargon. The compassion gap narrowed. Jordan oriented to the least useful person in the room without announcing it. Private kindness outpaced public virtue cues. A teammate said, "I don't feel graded anymore." A partner said, "I feel safer bringing heat." 2 lock-in moments made the change durable. First, special rules became explicit, consensual agreements. No calls after 7 p.m. If urgent, text urgent, and I'll reply by noon. Invisible IOUs turned into contracts. Resentment dropped. Second, a sticky note stayed on the monitor. Facts, feelings, fix. Mid-heat, it kept Jordan out of theory and in repair. Did the engines vanish? No. They lost fuel. Grandiose Reframe dissolved into cost, harm, limit plus a scheduled tweak. Detachment shifted from image control to protection with re-entry. Licensing got replaced by a repair streak and anonymous generosity. Projection gave way to mirror-first, consent-based insight. Certainty met nuance reps, conditions, and checks. Same mind. New practice. Fewer rules, warmer rooms, faster repairs. That's what healed looks like off-camera. Shorter distance between harm and help. The core lesson: real healing isn't serenity on display. It's faster repairs, plainer words, and warmer behavior when it's inconvenient. Run a 7-day status diet and 1 repair rep this week. Then track time to repair and apology specificity. Want the advanced rupture and repair playbook and live examples? Subscribe and watch the next video. Or queue up Intuition is Lying to build clarity without sliding into certainty.